All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Andre Ward recently talked about this years ago, actually 4 years ago and a year ago from now. Andre Ward, when he was in his career, he was having talks about fighting former unified heavyweight champion of the world in Anthony Joshua. If Andre Ward would have never have these injuries, would he have beaten Anthony Joshua? I'm gonna break it down for y'all. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. Please sure that you like and subscribe to the channel to get all your latest boxing news. With that being said, I wanted to bring this up. Andre Ward, when he was in his career, and he talked about some things after like he was unified champion at 175 and stuff, and he wanted to make a move to go up to heavyweight. This was recently 4 years ago. And now it seemed last year when Andre Ward was teasing the fans of coming back. He said he wanted Canelo or Anthony Joshua. And what surprised me about this is that truly I think that Andre Ward beats Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua has problems with smaller fighters. We seen that with Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz is 6'2", 270 plus pounds in the first fight, and he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, and I think that changed him since then. And then he also almost got stopped and knocked out by Alexander Usyk in the 12th round when they had stopped the fight 9 seconds early because Anthony Joshua knew he's about to get stopped. So this isn't a surprise to me. I think it would have been legendary for Andre Ward to go up to heavyweight. He would have been just like Roy Jones Jr., John Ruiz Jr. John Ruiz Jr., I don't care what anybody say, he was my favorite fighter. He was willing to fight anybody, all the smoke. And John Ruiz Jr. at that time had a belt, and Roy was looking to make his move up heavyweight, and John Ruiz said, look, I'll give you a shot. And I didn't like the fact that they had discredited John Ruiz Jr. when he was a heavyweight, when he had the WBA title. And Roy, Roy was actually shorter than Andre Ward. Roy was 5'10", I believe 215, 220 pounds, and John Ruiz was like 230, 240 pounds. And he simply outclassed John Ruiz. Now, height and size doesn't matter, but when you're fighting a guy within Anthony Joshua who's big, who carries a lot of weight, he's got a lot of power, has a great uppercut, and, it will be a difficult fight. But with Andre Ward's style, I think that he'll make Anthony Joshua embarrass Anthony Joshua, because I have to go back what Tyson Fury says. Tyson Fury says he's just not that good. And I think Tyson Fury's style alone beats Anthony Joshua all day. I don't think he'll knock him out, but I think Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua. I don't know. Tyson Fury, he seems to have all that weight. He could probably lean on Anthony Joshua and stop him. And I think Andre Ward, it would be a surprise if that fight were to happen 4 years ago. And in 2018, 2019, Andre Ward was willing to make his move to heavyweight. I think Andre Ward would have been unified heavyweight champion. I think he would have beat a few heavyweights with his style, because, style makes fight. I don't think Anthony Joshua's style. I think Anthony Joshua's style, he wouldn't be able to touch Andre Ward. He wouldn't be able to land those uppercuts on Andre Ward. He wouldn't be able to establish distance. He'll be trying to look to box the boxer. He seems to be making the same moves when he fought Alexander Usyk and Andy Ruiz Jr. When he fought Andy Ruiz Jr. the second time, he was scared. He was timid on his feet because he didn't want to face the pressure that Andy Ruiz Jr. was putting on him. Then when he fought another shorter fighter within Alexander Usyk started to apply pressure. Now, there was times that Alexander Usyk was getting hit with some big shots, but Alexander Usyk, he was starting to use his ladder movement, move around Anthony Joshua, starting to not sit down on his punches. But towards the championship round, Alexander Usyk started to push the gas on Anthony Joshua, and you can see that Anthony Joshua was really getting tired towards the championship rounds, and he was about to get stopped in the 12th round by Alexander Usyk, and they stopped the fight early within nine seconds and stuff like that. So the question begs to differ is, could Andre Ward beat Anthony Joshua towards the late of his career in his prime? I think he could. I think it would have been a tough fight for Andre Ward because Anthony Joshua has an 82-inch arm reach. Andre Ward has a 71-inch arm reach, I think. And he's only 6 feet tall. He has very short arms, but he's very tall. And I think just stylistically, Andre Ward's style would beat Anthony Joshua. But the question begs to differ is, would his chin be able to hold up with heavyweight's power? And will he be able to have the gas tank to let Anthony Joshua at moments lean on him? And I think Andre Ward's style would have given Anthony Joshua a lot of problems. I think Andre Ward, if he outboxes Anthony Joshua the same way Alexander Usyk did against Anthony Joshua, he beats Anthony Joshua. If he tries to stay in the pocket, try to slip a lot of punches, eventually Anthony Joshua's going to catch him towards the body and positionally land one of those big uppercuts, and he could get Andre Ward out of there. But if Andre Ward used the same style, which his style, in my opinion, is a little bit better than Alexander Usyk, because Andre Ward is like a big version of Shakur Stevenson. He can make you miss punches in the pocket, and you can't even hit him. And that was a great, amazing part about Andre Ward. I think his style would have beaten Anthony Joshua, and I think Andre Ward would have been legendary. But when it comes to heavyweight, you got to know what you're getting yourself into. And Roy Jones Jr., I have admired Roy. I will say this. Roy Jones Jr., when he went to light heavyweight and skipped over to cruiserweight and go to heavyweight, he did something that nobody thought anybody can do. You know, Roy Jones had shocked the world when he beat John Ruiz Jr., and I think Andre Ward would have really shocked the world if he would have beat Anthony Joshua. And his trainer, Virgil Hunter, they were serious. Virgil Hunter. They were serious about making this fight between Andre Ward and Anthony Joshua at one point, but the fans was not calling for it. I think Anthony Joshua was a little bit younger, but Anthony Joshua was seen as one of the dangerous heavyweights towards the earlier time. Not more dangerous than why, but he was at the top of echelon at that time. And if Andre Ward would have made his move to heavyweight, I think personally he could have beaten Anthony Joshua because of the style. Anthony Joshua has a lot of problems with pure slick boxers. When he fought Alexander Usyk, he was trying to box him. He wasn't trying to sit down on his punches. He wasn't trying to go after the smaller man. He was trying to box him. He dropped all that muscle mass and weight. He was usually walk around at 250, 260 pounds. He went all the way down to 240, and he looked very stupid trying to box a boxer. And I think if Anthony Joshua had the chance to fight Andre Ward, he would do the same thing as he did to Alexander Usyk. He would be trying to look to box Andre Ward, and I think personally, I think Andre Ward could stop Anthony Joshua towards the same round as Alexander Usyk stopped Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua doesn't have the best gas tank. But this is just speculation. I think Andre Ward, he could have had a couple of heavyweight fights. I think he could have beat Anthony Joshua. Now, when you get into the caliber of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, that's a whole different story. But there was a lot of old time boxers that went. There was a boxer that went all the way up from flyweight all the way up to heavyweight, and he was very successful. So I'm not saying nobody can do it. It's just a risky factor to take your body and your training to the next level when you go up in that weight. So with that being said, Andre Ward says, well, he regrets not getting the fight with Anthony Joshua. In my opinion, I think if Andre Ward would have never had all those injuries, I truly believe he would have been heavyweight champion, and it really would have solidified his name in the Hall of Fame. But I still think it's going to solidify his name in the Hall of Fame and stuff like that, because Andre Ward was an Olympic gold medalist and stuff like that. He was a very good boxer. He didn't have the greatest power in the world, but he had accumulation punching power that he can't stop you with the skill and technicality that Andre Ward had. So that's my take on the whole situation. With that being said, guys, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.